What's going on? You're listening to the Perspective Podcast, and I'm your host, Scotty.D.Russell of Perspective Collective. Now, this podcast is going to be about helping you gain the confidence to share your work, as well as finding a place where the world just needs your creativity in general, okay? There's a demand for what you do out there, and I want to help you find it. Now, by no means do I feel I'm an expert, but I have been through plenty of ups and downs. I've been creating for a long time, and I'm just now starting to understand where the world is needing my creativity. So I want to, kind of share my progress along the way and give you some tips and tricks and maybe help you discover exactly where this demand is for yours as well. And that brings me into the topic of the first episode. It's why you need to be sharing your creativity with the world right now. And I have 3 good reasons for you. But before I jump into the 3 reasons, I want to start off with talking about the resistance, okay? What it is that's holding you back from sharing. And if you want to hear something crazy, I did not share any of my artwork until I got to college. So I'm around 20-something years old. It's pretty crazy. I grew up getting picked on a lot, and the fear of me sharing my artwork to anybody, made me feel like I was going to get tortured even more, so it paralyzed me from sharing. But when I got to college, a close friend of mine, his name was Tyson Salzberger, he discovered my little stash of sketchbooks. And he persuaded me over and over and over again until finally I caved in to share my work online on Facebook. Facebook was the big deal at that time. So one day I started posting some doodles. When I hit publish, it was a very, very terrifying thing. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys can relate. What if someone thought your work was just horrible? What if you did pursue this and you became a failure? I was always afraid to fail. I got picked on a lot, so I just thought I was just doomed to always have things not go my way. But looking back on it now, it's safe to say that hitting publish that day was absolutely massive for my creative career, because who knows what I would be doing right now if I had lived my fears. So one, that's what I want you to think about. If you're not sharing your creativity right now, imagine where you could be in the next 5-10 years. More recently, I've experienced this resistance, this fear, when I began blogging just about a little over a year ago. And what held me back at the time was the fear of looking stupid and failing. And the biggest thing that held me back was I had no idea where to start. Starting something new or wanting to pursue something, it could feel like you're looking at Mount Everest, okay? And you feel like you have to climb it overnight. And that's exactly how blogging felt to me. It felt like this massive task, and I had to be perfect right from the get-go. As with drawing and sharing my creativity, I faced my fears, I battled the resistance, and I just took it one day at a time and realized that it's impossible to be perfect from the start, and really it's just impossible to be perfect. So I let myself pass on that perfectionist side, and believe me, it was rough at first. My blog sucked for about a good 3 months. I'm not saying it's great today, but it was really bad at the beginning. But I learned so much through just showing up each day and creating a process and just letting my thoughts and feelings flow that I began to find my voice. And I want to hit on how what you're most afraid of is where you're going to provide the most growth, not only to yourself, but to the world and the most value to people. And that's what it was for me. So I guess what's holding you back right now? Is it the fear of being judged, of feeling stupid, the fear of failing, even the fear of the unknown? Or is it just you're looking at this massive task and it just feels too tall that you don't know where to start? That's why we're going to go into these 3 reasons why you should be sharing your creativity, because I want you to reap the benefits, not only for yourself, but what you can offer the world. So going into reason number 1, the reason why you should be sharing your creativity right now with the world is because it's going to help you find your voice and your style. Now, as we all know, art is a form of self-expression, and it's not something that you should be tailoring to what other people are wanting to see. Of course, unless you're doing client work, and I see it so many times on Instagram and other platforms, and I'm guilty of this too. You create out of trends, out of something that people are going to like, because you can get some likes, some followers, maybe some features. And I'm sorry, it's just not right. You need to be creating from a place of authenticity, okay? Something that really, really portrays who you are, maybe where you are at this time in life, something that you really, really enjoy. And once I started using my creativity as a vessel to, express myself, my story, and to lift other people who may be dealing with what I'm dealing, I experienced this massive mind shift, not only, in the way I approach things in my work, but my overall style. I began to find my voice. I began to engineer my own unique style that's filled with perspective and tedious detail. So if you've seen my artwork, you could totally see what I'm talking about right now. And it's just kind of became me, maybe it's just a piece of me. If you see some art out there and you see this style, you may be able to tie that in with, hey, maybe that's Scotty style. But overall, just sharing my creativity with the world, it helped me reveal me to myself. And I am positive that when you begin sharing your art consistently with the world, you'll begin to reveal you to yourself as well, just like I revealed myself to me, if that makes any sense. So going into the second reason why you need to share your creativity is that you will find a demand for it. Somewhere there's going to be a need for what you do. Now, one of my biggest things I hark on all the time is that I believe people like you and me, everyone has their creative gift, okay? We all have something within us, and it's up to us to discover it and share it because there is a demand for it. Somewhere out there, your skills are needed, your talents. And by overcoming the resistance and the fear and consistently sharing your work, you will inevitably stumble across that purpose, which could be something like freelancing for clients, okay? You could, really help people with their design needs. Next, you could build your own brand image, build your own business, build your own agency. When you share your creativity with the world, you could realize like, hey, I have a bigger purpose for this. And finally, just by you sharing your creativity, it could be that extra encouraging push people need through maybe like your social platform, posting stuff on Instagram. That's how it started with me. I saw other people posting the kind of work I wanted to be doing, and it inspired me to start sharing my work online too. And that was a big deal. And with the technological advances in this technology bubble that we're living right now, it has never been easier to share your work or even get discovered. And what I like to say is that you're literally one scroll or swipe away from being discovered and making an impact on someone's life. Like, how powerful is that? You can connect with someone online and immediately make an impact or build some influence and help people. And that just blows my mind right now because it used to not be like that, especially when I grew up not sharing my work. And understand that by you not sharing your work, you are robbing the world of your talents and those who need it most. Okay, in a sense, I feel like you're being selfish by keeping this to yourself and not sharing it. It's so important to share. So I want you to start and continue to relentlessly share your work, share your creativity, and I guarantee you're going to be finding your purpose and finding that demand where your talents are needed in the world. And moving on to reason 3. By sharing your creativity, you are, in a sense, helping inspire others that were in your shoes at one time. Now, let me get this straight. Not everyone is going to love your work. Something I'm really finding out as of late. So it's impossible to please everyone, but as a creator, that's not what our motive should be. As I mentioned earlier, we shouldn't be tailoring our art to what other people want to see. And there's going to be a lot of people who strongly dislike you and your work, and that's totally okay. But just know that if someone can hate you or dislike your work, then plenty of other people can love it. Don't ever, ever, ever forget that. Because by you showing up and putting all your energy and your passion in your work, just pouring your soul into your artwork, you are going to attract others to your cause. Okay, people are going to see this. People will notice. Believe me, they will notice if you show up over time, consistently pouring everything you have into your work. You just might get that person who's sitting on the fence, afraid to share their work. You just may provide that extra push they need to begin sharing. And I could go on and on and on about all the amazing people I discovered on Instagram that totally convinced me to jump on mine. So someone like Sean McCabe or Raul Alejandro or Ricardo Gonzalez, It's a Living. These guys really, really inspire me to share my work, and I was on the fence of sharing this stuff. So if it wasn't for them and them pouring their heart and souls into their work, I probably wouldn't have done it either. I would have been too scared. And finally, I want to talk about the greatest risk you're going to be facing. So you may think it's going to be a huge risk just sharing your work. As we talked about earlier, those fears, people could laugh at you, scrutinize you. You're setting yourself up for failure. And yeah, this is a risk, but the greatest risk in life is not taking a risk. And I got that from Mark Zuckerberg, but it's so true. You could be laying on your deathbed and it can just dawn on you like, wow, I just missed that opportunity, okay? I'm living a life full of regret. I'm just passively existing because I'm too scared to take a risk. But in the big picture, that's the greatest risk of not pursuing the things that you love to do, pursuing the things that you're best at and finding where the world needs it the most. Because if you can figure out your greatest strength, figure out your greatest passion, combine those together, that's the sweet spot. And if you can find where that's needed in the world, then you are totally going to be finding creative fulfillment and enjoying and experiencing life on your own terms. And by you living in your fears and not sharing your creativity, you are at risk of losing this life of creative fulfillment. So don't let this opportunity pass you by until it's too late. And I just want to encourage you to start sharing now, because later becomes never. It's the trap of tomorrow, okay? I'll do it tomorrow, maybe tomorrow. And it becomes never. And I've seen it too many times. I've experienced myself. And you deserve to live this life of creative fulfillment. And the world needs your gift. Please understand this. People like me, we are waiting to see what you have to say, what you have to share. Get over the fear of being judged. It's going to happen anyway. But by you being judged, there's going to be people out there that you're really just changing their lives. I just want to sincerely thank you for taking the time to listen to this first show. I know things aren't going to be perfect. I have a ton of room for growth, but the reason why I'm doing this is to get better and show you the progress along the way. I have so much confidence in my abilities, yet at the same time, I'm scared to share my work. It took me a while to even start this podcast because I wanted it to be perfect, yet I didn't want people to think of me differently. Overall, it's just a little nerve-wracking thing to do, to hit publish and share your thoughts with the world. I totally get it. You're opening yourself up to be scrutinized, criticized. But again, this whole podcast episode was a reminder to myself as I struggled to finally get this first episode out there. You just need to face your fears, face that resistance, stop being so scared about everything, because the worst thing is not taking action. You'll never know. You'll never truly understand what could have happened, what if. And I can't go to the grave wondering what if, why I didn't pursue this, what would have happened. So if you want to find me online, you can go to perspective-collective.com, and it's pretty much a one-stop shop. You can get all the tools I use for drawing. You can find all the podcasts, all of the books that I consume. I'm big into personal development. And I also have a free guide called the Change Your Perspective Guide. You'll see it right away when you get on there. And it's all about a 4-step plan to help you take control of your life and share your gift with the world by taking action. It's free. It's totally designed to help creatives like you get up and running off the ground and start enjoying the work that you're creating. Also, if you want to find me on social media, I'm pretty much everywhere by perspective_collective, and kill all the vowels. Social media hates my long name, so I just want to keep it consistent and easy for people to find me, ask questions, reach out, give me feedback, whatever. I am totally open. I love engaging with you guys, so get a hold of me anytime. And I also need to just give a absolutely huge thank you to Nick Jenkins of Blookah for all the amazing music that you hear on this podcast. So go check him out on his SoundCloud. It's Blookah, Blookah. Nothing but good vibes. So thanks, Nick. Keep pushing, keep showing up, and keep moving forward, guys, because you have a gift and the world needs to see it. Thank you.